Okay, so let's take a look at how you can load the JSON data into your autonomous JSON database in Oracle Cloud. So the first step is to log into your Oracle Cloud, then get access to the menu and click on Oracle database. Now here I have autonomous JSON database, right? Now here the JSON database that I have already created one. Just in case if you don't know, you can go to create autonomous database. Here I will give the display name, database name, and here you can see the option to create the JSON workload. Simply select your tier. If it's free, you can select that option, or you can also edit your CPU count and storage along with database version, right? Then you can also add the password, choose network access, and choose license, and finally create the autonomous database. So this is a flow that we follow for creating autonomous JSON database, right? Now the next step is to access this database. So once created, it will be available in the list. Here you can see workload type JSON database. So I will access that here. Now, like any other database that you make within autonomous database, you will have options like database connection, where you can download the instance wallet and check the connection strings, right? And you also have database actions. So I will click on database actions and it should open in another tab. Now here you will notice development and data studio options, where you can see SQL editor, where you can view your JSON data in SQL or tabular form and also run the queries. There is also JSON editor section where you can create your collection and documents and query the results, right? So we will also get to this point, but for this particular purpose we are trying to load our JSON data into this particular instance. So now that we are into this JSON dev autonomous database and we opened its database actions, we'll go to data studio. There are multiple ways to go there. You can use top menu, data studio and data load, or we can use data load directly. Then you have load data, local file options, then click on next, and here we will select a file which is JSON file, and here we will choose files, choose JSON folder, and here let's say I have like this employee data, so I will open it right here. Then you notice that it will generate a table name which is same as your file name, so it generated that, right? So the thing is, I will have to click on settings and it will open properties for that. Okay, considering the data type is like this, however we are going to see the JSON version of that, so it will only forward the database reference. Now I will start importing these files, so let's load it, right? So data is loaded. I can now go to the analysis view. So here you can access actually the database, or alternatively I can also use the JSON editor section, right? So what I will do is, instead of using analysis, I will simply use the section for JSON, right? So it will again go through the tour and make you forcefully check all the options. So let's finish that. Right, now here we will just refresh it and try to find recent collection. So it seems like our JSON data went into SQL. So we'll have to check SQL for that particular table. So here you see we have that table within our SQL editor visible. So if we run SQL query, it will be treated like any other table and can use the query and get the results, right? And it's on cloud, so it will count against the available set of monthly quota for the queries. Here you'll find the name of your employees, joining date and location. All this data is visible right here, right? Total 9 entries, as you can see, it was available in JSON format, and I'm managed to load it into my JSON database, and I'm accessing in a SQL's tabular form, right? Now if I want to get this as script output within, let's say, JSON file, I can also get that. And let's see if I can get this. Okay, so export JSON, that's also allowed. All right, so we managed to load my JSON data into Oracle's autonomous JSON database through database actions, right? And you can also access SQL editor for querying through this particular data, which is now in a tabular form, right? So okay, so one more thing that I didn't cover is accessing your JSON data through MongoDB, right? So for your account, you need to enable MongoDB API configuration, which you can access in your autonomous database, and then click on your JSON data, then go to tool and configuration. So here, if you scroll to the bottom, you will find MongoDB API, and its status, as you can see, is set to disable, right? So currently it is disabled, and we will find out the reason why, right? So let's click on edit tool configuration. If we scroll here, you can see the use access control list or private endpoint as your network access type to be able to enable MongoDB API, right? So I will try and use private endpoint. So if we search for that, private endpoints, so database tools, we will pick that up, and for this particular autonomous JSON database, I will have to set that up, which means I will have to set the vault as well, right? So if I will have to give that configuration, choose the subnet, right? Here you can select the database, right? So autonomous database, and then you will have to choose the JSON database as well, then subnet. Then in advanced configuration, you will have to check the private endpoint IP address, which I am skipping, but you get the idea. So you will have to make sure to use this option, and then once you enable private endpoint, you can use that for MongoDB API compatibility within your JSON database, right? And then that option within your JSON database tool configuration will be enabled. So that kind of flow and process you will have to pay attention to, right? So that is one thing. Once you do that, you will be able to use MongoDB Compass. So MongoDB Compass will require one string for it to be connected, right? Also the compatibility means you will be able to access it within Compass through, let's say, giving it authentication option like username password, right? So username password, then any database name that you have. Also proxy SSH option, where you can use identity file, which is your instance wallet. That is one option. and then also the SSH with password option, that is also possible, but I prefer to use identity file as it's more secure method. You don't have to worry much later, so you can add that file, then save and connect, and it will be done. So I will cover this separately, but you get the idea of making use of your connection there through MongoDB Compass. So then small operations like data loading, importing would be easier for your Oracle's autonomous JSON database.